I'm Tucker.
And I'm Kelsey Waters.
And I'm Erin Rushing.
This is our Capstone project, finding a path to a happier, healthier you.
So, because we're talking about health today, I thought we'd break out health in three different components. The first being physical health, which we've defined as prevention of disease and physical fitness. The next is mental health, which we've said is self care and a positive outlook on life, and stress relief. And that's finding healthy ways to maintain manageable levels of stress. So, to start out, I will talk about physical health, and three different parts of physical health are education and self evaluation, a healthy diet, and exercise. So, to focus on an individual's health, I think it's important to understand the environment the individual is in. And here in the United States, there are two very common illnesses that most of us have probably heard of called diabetes and hypertension. And if you're kind of unfamiliar with that terminology, diabetes is just a high blood sugar, and hypertension is high blood pressure. Right now, about 34.2 million people in the United States are diabetic, and that is about 10.5% of the population. And that's a large percentage, especially when a large percentage of 10.5% does not know that they have diabetes. With hypertension, 77.9 million people in the United States have hypertension. And if you kind of look at the numbers a little closer, you will see that that's about one in every three adults. There is disparity in the South in the fact that we have more of the illness per capita. So we have this because we are normally considered unhealthier in the South, and this is usually attributed to the fact that the people here generally have a lower socioeconomic status, which means that we have less access to healthcare, both because of monetary reasons and because we have more rural areas, and there are several food deserts in the South. And if you look at the fun fact on the screen, you'll see that a food desert is defined as an area where it is hard to get fresh produce. And this can be because they just don't have it or that the individual who's looking for it cannot afford it. And so to start out with self-monitoring, there are four different steps that I've defined in self-monitoring. And the first step is to know the normal. It's hard to recognize the abnormal when you don't know the baseline to compare it to. And so a normal blood pressure, which is what you're looking for when you're trying to see what the risk of hypertension is, the normal blood pressure is 120 over 80. Normal blood sugar before eating is less than 100 mg per deciliter. The mg per deciliter is just a unit that says how much glucose is in a certain volume of blood. And next, you will need to know your family history. A lot of times when you go to the doctor, they will ask you, has anybody in your family had this illness? And they're asking that because normally diseases have a genetic component, which means it runs in families. And so if a close relative developed the illness, you are at a greater risk of developing it. It doesn't mean that you will, it just means that you're more likely to. And normally closer relatives like a mother and a father put you more at risk than something like a great grandmother or a great grandfather. They'll also sometimes ask what age they developed the illness because if your mother developed hypertension around 50 or 60 years of age, it's less concerning than if she developed it at 19. So the third step is to know the risk factors. What's going to make you more likely to get an illness? And being aware of these will help you avoid getting the illness if possible. So with diabetes, risk factors are a lack of exercise, poor diet, being overweight, age, and genetics. The list for hypertension is very similar. It's a lack of exercise, excess salt in the diet, being overweight, age, genetics, and then it has the additional tobacco use one. The fourth step for self-monitoring is to know how to self-monitor. So what equipment you need to use and how to use it. When you go to the doctor, a lot of times before you see the physician, they will check your blood pressure, which is the cuff they put on your upper arm, and it just kind of gets a readout on how hard the blood is pushing on the vessels in your body. So you can also do that at home along with testing your blood glucose. You can buy your own blood pressure cuff, and it's usually as simple as putting the cuff on your arm and pressing start. And it will be a little uncomfortable for about a minute, but after that you'll have a fairly accurate estimate of like what your blood pressure is. Um, it's relatively inexpensive and can usually be found at stores, or Walmart, wherever you can access medical supplies usually has them as well. And then blood glucose is usually like a stick on the finger where a little bit of blood comes out, and you just put a test strip on a meter and it gives you your blood glucose level. And if you're uncomfortable with doing that yourself, or if you don't want to go buy the necessary equipment, pretty much every healthcare provider offers these tests. And so, how do you know for sure when to go get checked if you're concerned that you have developed the illness? You kind of need to know the warning signs to look for. And so, with diabetes, you will often see excess thirst, excess urination, fatigue, continual hunger, changes in vision, slow healing wounds, and a loss of sensation in the arms or legs. It often manifests as headaches, chest pain, fatigue, irregular heartbeat, throbbing in head or chest, dizziness, and shortness of breath. And so if you are exhibiting, one or two of these very severely or several at kind of a level that you recognize as abnormal, you probably want to schedule a appointment with a medical professional to get diagnosed officially with the illness and kind of start being able to prevent it or revert it back if it's in early stages, or just kind of get the appropriate treatment to avoid any bad side effects if it's developed already.
So when looking at the factors that make up a healthy diet, calorie recommendations for men are 2,000 to 3,000 calories per day, and for women 1,600 to 2,400 calories a day. And you can tell that women's calories are significantly lower than men's because men tend to burn more calories per day than women. When eating, you should aim to have a colorful plate at mealtime, which is an easy trick to try to get recommended vitamins and nutrients. Also, find ways to sneak fruits or vegetables in the meal. Add spinach to your smoothie or add extra vegetables to your casserole. So, when looking at your food, your plate should look very colorful. You should have vegetables, fruits, healthy protein, whole grains, water, and healthy oils. So for your vegetables, the more vegetables are in a greater variety, the better. Potatoes and french fries do not count as vegetables. Also make sure you're eating plenty of fruits of all colors. Use healthy oils like oil and canola oil for cooking on salad and at the table, and limit the amount of butter that you intake. Also drink water, tea, or coffee with little or no sugar. Limit your milk and dairy products to 1 to 2 servings per day, and juice to 1 small glass per day. Also avoid drinking like sugary drinks. Eat a variety of whole grains like whole wheat bread, whole grain pasta, and brown rice. Limit refined grains like white rice and white bread. Also choose fish, poultry, beans, and nuts. Limit red meat and cheese, and avoid bacon, cold cuts, and other processed meats. In regards to your exercise, the Mayo Clinic recommends that adults should participate in 50 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous aerobic exercise per week. They also recommend that some type of strength training is done twice a week. Minimize the amount of time spent sitting. A fun fact is exercise can help improve your memory.
How is stress related to hypertension? Your body produces a lot of hormones when you're in a stressful situation. These hormones temporarily increase your blood pressure by causing your heart to beat faster and your blood vessels to become thin or narrow. But reacting to stress in unhealthy ways can increase your risk of high blood pressure, heart attacks, and strokes. Stress hormones can affect your blood pressure, respiratory systems, and cardiovascular systems, so be nice to them and don't stress them so often. How is stress related to diabetes? Research from the HEALTHLINE stated that people with type 2 diabetes are under mental stress. They generally experience an increase in their blood glucose levels. People with type 1 diabetes can, may have more varied response. This means that they can experience either an increase or decrease in their blood glucose level. Adding additional stress to your body while your body is fighting to keep glucose under control creates a battle within your body. In times of stress, if you may be feeling angry or frustrated, sleeping a lot, or feeling very overwhelmed, it may be the signs of you're very stressed, and you may want to take it slowly, and you may want to do some exercises. We have some list of things that that you could do to reduce your stress. So stress management. Here are a couple ways that you can manage your stress in a very manageable way. Take a walk. You can remember things that you're thankful for. Do some yoga, meditate, listen to some music, drink water. Water is very important. Also, you want to visit your happy place. Your happy place is most of the time it would get you right back.
Okay, ways to take care of your mental health during a pandemic. According to the CDC, disease outbreaks can be very stressful and cause strong emotions in adults and children. Ways to cope with stress include taking care of your body, such as deep breaths, meditation, and stretching. Eat healthy and getting plenty of sleep. Avoid alcohol and drugs. Connect with others. Make time to unwind. And do something that makes you happy and gives you a sense of peace, such as drawing or solving a puzzle. You can improve your physical health during a pandemic by exercising outdoors by yourself or with a friend. When exercising with a friend, make sure that you choose activities that allow you to maintain an appropriate distance between each other. Consider hiking or taking a new path and trying a water-based activity such as kayaking. You can also work on improving your general fitness. Work on strengthening your core and cardiovascular condition. Exercise using your body weight with exercises such as burpees, squats, yoga, and push ups.
Thank you so much for tuning in to our presentation. I hope you learned a lot about diabetes and hypertension. Hopefully, you take some of our tips and you use our tips. You pass them along. Also, we'll be posting some flyers, some stress management flyers on our Facebook and our Instagram. So make sure you check that out. My Instagram is going to be Tim K Tucker. It's TIMK Tucker, and the ladies would plug their Instagram in right there.
Okay, and my Instagram is Kelsey Waters, just my name, KHELSIA.
And my Instagram is Erin E. Rushing, so ERINERUSHING.
Again, I hope that you enjoyed it, and thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.